Okay, hello everyone, and thank you for being here today. We are about to start this workshop. In fact, I have to say that, and I have to admit that this is not going to be a typical workshop. We are going to have an interactive discussion today, to have conversations with you. I would like to have, well, the possibility to talk to many of you, and actually to have also the possibility to read your messages and your comments on the chat as well. The idea today is to actually have different activities, and this is the agenda that we have for today. We're going to start by actually introducing the topic. Then we're going to have a first debate, which will be around challenges. Then we're going to have another debate, and we're going to have a number of things. And the idea is to try to find that elements, that type of things that make an effective and an engaging online learning experience, an engaging online learning course. Then we're gonna go for final ideas, some conclusions, and then we're gonna open, let's say, the discussion for Q&A, and actually to have some questions from you as well. If you allow me, so welcome everybody. It's great to see people for many countries, for many places around the world, and well, thank you for being here, and actually thank you for being interested in learning about the online learning, online teaching, online education, which is very relevant today for everybody. So a very brief personal introduction. My name is Martin Rodriguez. I'm adjunct faculty here at IE. I'm also director of the high impact online programs at IE University, which are the executive education online programs, and also IE Publishing. IE Publishing is a division at IE that designs, produces and distributes the learning materials, not only for IE University, but also for other universities and other business schools around the world. I'm very happy to be here. Find me on LinkedIn, on Twitter, and well, with that, let's get started with some introduction, no? And when I was, let's say, designing this session and thinking about how and what to do with you today, I was thinking about, okay, well, let's start by trying to see what is the situation we're living today. And with that in mind, I said, well, let's have a very short conversation, a very short ideas about what is happening in terms of remote teaching, and what are the things that we can, let's say, that are going to be different from remote teaching to actually a proper and a great and effective and engaging learning, online learning experience. So what many universities and many institutions are doing today is actually, well, to transition on something we say remote teaching, or it's actually to try to face the emergency, the situation due to the COVID crisis. And with that, what they are doing is actually try to stream and try to just to transfer the things that they can do on a face-to-face setting, then to try to go to an online setting. With that in mind, those who are actually working on online education from, let's say, many years ago, from 10, 15 years ago, this is not what we, let's say, think and let's say we plan when talking about online education. So what we try to do when we talk about online education, actually to start by designing the course since the very beginning, to try to not only design the course, but trying to design each one of the sessions, each one of the modules, each one of the activities, having that in mind. That format is important. So we are not, let's say, just focusing on remote teaching, but actually to define and to design the whole learning experience in an online setting. So with that in mind, the thing is, okay, so many universities have been, jumping into the online format because of the situation today, and some others right now that we have some possibilities, and some countries the possibility to go to actually to the university, to go to the institution, to go to come back to the classrooms. Then we are, let's say, having these hybrid models when we have not only, let's say, students actually on a virtual environment, but also those who are in front of you in a face-to-face format in the same classroom. So this is something we're doing today. And in fact, there are other things that I would like to mention that is, well, the role of the faculty is changing because of now we are taking them out of their comfort zone, and they have to actually think in a, let's say, other type of format, other type of resources that they can have. So one important thing is actually not to stick to the concept of remote teaching, actually to try to forget, or let's say to pass this and to jump into online education per se, and try to think what is the role of the faculty, what is the role of the professor, what is the, let's say, resources that you have in mind, that you have available. And for us, we have the claim that I put there, that for us, education is too important to put on hold, and because of that, we have to continue evolving the model and actually going ahead. With that ideas, my first thing that I would like to ask you is to think about the challenges that we're facing today. So we're going to have an analysis, and this is going to be first from an institution perspective, then from a faculty perspective, and the third one will be from a methodological perspective or from a sector's perspective. So from the institution perspective, I would like you to write down 3 of the most important challenges that you think your institution or those institutions today are facing when they have to go online, or when they have to start, let's say, teaching and delivering online courses. I would like you to write this down and then to share this with me. So, I mean, a couple of seconds for you to write some ideas in terms of these challenges that from an institution perspective, you think that your university, your institution, your high school, your school is facing right now. So write this down, and then I would like to, some one of you, I would like to interact with you today. I mean, this has to do, or let's say it has to be an interactive discussion. So who would like to share with us? Raise your hands using your, I mean, actually the system that you have there, and to see if, okay, so we have one here. So perhaps Omar, please turn on your mic, and it's great to be talking to you. So what is the main challenges that you can find from an institutional perspective?
Okay, hi, first of all, do you hear me?
Very well.
Okay, so I think that one of the things that my institution is very worried about it is that in order to engage the students to assist on daily basis to online classes and keep all the students interested in all of the classes.
Perfect. So engagement is a very important challenge. We're going to see these. Also, I'm going to link these to the methodological or the sector perspective. Great comment, Omar. This is very important. Another one would like to raise their hand and share their insights about these challenges. Anyone would like? Yes. So here we have Christina Merchok. Christina, please go ahead.
Thank you. Yes, I think another challenge really important that is happening is inclusion. We are not designing classes to include everybody in the class or even in the learning process.
Excellent, excellent comment. We're going to see this as well, and how, you know, when you're designing these online courses, you have to think of the learner persona. This is something that we have to take into account. We're going to see this. And then Jorge, please turn on your mic and jump in. I think we lose Jorge. Oh, we have Daniela as well. Sorry, but Daniela first. Daniela,
okay, first off, hi.
Hi.
Hi, everybody. I think the most important challenge that we're facing, and not only as a teacher, as well as a mom that's teaching her son at home now, is activities has to be participation, I think, and creativity that I think it's missing in most of the online classes. They are spread. So I think that maybe if we could connect the subjects and create more projects, So for me, the main thing is that students should be able to feel that they're participating and they're being creative in their learning processes.
Perfect. So creativity as one of the key elements, and also to make sure, Daniela, and good comment, to make sure that we can, let's say, have participation in that course. So great ideas. I'm going to share with you some of the, let's say, challenges that I see, and this is something because when I have these type of workshops and when I have these type of sessions with faculty, I am collaborating, for instance, with the EFND, European Foundation for Management and Development, and delivering these type of sessions, perhaps longer, with faculty, trying to, to help them to design courses, online courses. Some of the things that we analyze is actually let's say, the situation of that particular institution, the needs that they have, what is, let's say, the context that they have. So this is from an institutional perspective. You have to understand what is, let's say, that particular context and that particular situation where you are located at this point. The other thing to mention is the need for actually to have the support from the leader board, from the let's say, from the top management and of the university or your institution, actually have a leader who takes the role and pushes this, within the whole organization, to have that stakeholder alignment, to have that policies. Compensation could be as well an important thing to consider as well. So and more in a university or business school context. Then we have to think about, let's say, the different methodologies and the different models that we're gonna follow as well, the technical requirements and all these type of things. And then many universities don't have, or many institutions don't have necessarily a team devoted to technical support, a team devoted to instructional design. So this is another challenge, in terms of resourcing these, in terms of actually get the funds, the finance to actually do these type of things. So with that in mind, let's come back to the challenges. And now I would like to, even though Daniela, you mentioned something for the faculty, but I would like you to think about what is, let's say, what are the key challenges we're facing for a faculty perspective, but also from the methodologies perspective, from, let's say, the sector's perspective. And the sector is online education, or online education in, let's say, higher education, or, universities or high schools today, okay? So with that in mind, please write down a couple of ideas, challenges from the faculty perspective and or the methodological perspective. And by the way, I'm trying to do this today with you because it is important that you understand the context and the challenges, so that we can, let's say, make sure that we have this we are very aware of this, and then we can start planning and designing great learning experiences, which will be the second part of today's discussion. So with that in mind, please, some ideas about what are the challenges that we're facing from a faculty perspective, faculty, professors, teachers, and also from a methodological or sector's perspective. Any comments? Anyone would like to mention anything? Okay, so we have here, I can see someone. No. Anyone would like to mention anything about this? Challenges? Come on, guys. Okay, so we have Berta. Please turn on your mic and tell us, what do you think about these challenges? You have to you have the bottom below. Just click on the mic icon.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. We can hear you very well.
Sorry. My computer is malfunctioning a lot because I fell down the stairs we did yesterday. So it's a little bummed up. And I think that one of the biggest challenges for me is how tiring it is to spend so much time in front of the computer. I feel burnt out. I love teaching, I love designing classes, I love designing my materials, but spending these mandatory time in front of the computer. This huge amount of time in front of the computer is exhausting.
Absolutely. It is very relevant. I mean, that time that you spend there, but also I would say that the time that a faculty member has to invest in, let's say, redesigning his or her course is as well something to mention. So that effort is important. So that time in front of the computer, actually perhaps recording videos, actually perhaps designing activities is also to take into account. Great comment, Bertha. And we also have Omar. You want to add anything else, Omar?
Yes, maybe I don't know, but I think that we have all the same problem. As a teachers, as a professors, we need to connect to the human part of each student in 50 minutes, and also give them all the knowledge, all the topics that we need to cover on each class. So you say something very important. We need to redesign the complete thing, and also to know new tools to teach them, so it's not very easy.
Absolutely, absolutely. I'm going to develop this part. So, I mean, that redesign. This is not some. I'm going to repeat this a couple of times in this. I mean, in the session. This is not a direct translation of what you have been doing in a face-to-face setting. No, this is not. This is another thing. So when we're trying to design actually enriching and engaging and effective learning experiences, we have to start by, let's say, thinking about the format, thinking about that, let's say, activities, technology, all the elements that you have at your disposal, and then how to do that. Excellent, great comment, Omar. And we have also Daniela. Perhaps you want to add anything new, Daniela?
Yes, I would say that before the even COVID, we had the challenge to, with, I don't know, college or university, to be working. I work in the university, and the thing is that we cannot use the online or virtual classes as the same as when we are face to face. So I think that maybe the challenge is to work more, making discussion with the students when we are faced or in this online classes, and give them all the resources or all the things that they can learn by themselves, that they can, I think that they can search in the web, all the information, and not be teaching them those contents. So we could use maybe more the lessons to discussion, critical thinking. I think more go deeper in that.
Okay, so perhaps what you're saying, Daniela, is that the online course, when you have an actual interaction with the students, I mean, you as a faculty member, perhaps this time has to be devoted to interactivity, actually applications of concepts, I mean, these type of things, instead of just lecturing. This is what you're trying to say as well, right?
Perfectly understood.
Excellent. So
yes, that's what I wanted to say.
This is something very important. This is key. I mean, I would say this is huge, and this is one of the secret sausages when designing online courses. We're going to cover this in the second part of this discussion. We're going to have actually some tips actually to have these, and one of the things I'm going to mention later, and we're going to devote some time there, is actually not only, let's say, design the courses from a very practical point of view, but also having different mix of resources, so that you don't have only lectures, you don't have only videos, you don't have only activities. So it's actually to have a number of things to work, I mean, for the students to work and for them to be engaged. Then we have Cristina, please.
Oh, thank you. Well, I wanted to say something about the methodology perspective, which goes around with what you were saying, is that we are teaching in a teacher-centered model, you know, like as you were saying, we're based on lecturing students instead of thinking of new ways to give them back the control of their learning process. Like we need to start thinking of different methodologies, as someone says, like project things or challenges thing, or there are so many new methodologies or active methodologies that we can use to engage students that will really solve the issue of engagement and participation and everything. So I think that's a really important challenge to bring that has to do with designing differently.
Absolutely, fully agree, and it is important to take this into account so that I mean you don't design your course from a professor or teaching I mean perspective, but actually from the students' perspective. One of the things that I highlight when actually talking to faculty about how to design their courses is to be very empathetic. They need to understand the learning persona. This is something we mentioned some minutes ago, but actually this is something key as well. So you have to understand what is their level of understanding of that particular concept when they are going to be landing in your courses. You have to understand as well. You need to know their age, their interest. In some countries, perhaps it's very relevant how they're going to access internet. I mean, if the let's say different devices are going to be let's say good enough actually to be able to follow the whole class, or you have to think about other type of things. Let's say perhaps a more self-paced kind of online courses, depending on the country, depending on the age, depending on their interests as well. So this is very important. And then the last comment here, and then I'm gonna share with you my take on this, is from Jorge. Jorge, please.
Okay, thank you. Just I want to refer about the way that we can assess our students in these times. Okay, it is very different, and I can see or I can highlight it during the online process or during the online classes. It has changed in a very good percentage. We uh, we are experimenting that now in these times, the assessment is more formative than summative. This is something very important for me.
Okay, okay, excellent. Everybody, if someone doesn't know what is formative assessments and summative assessments, so formative is actually for practicing, and summative is those assessments that are going to be actually taken into account when they, let's say, approve the course. So those who are going to be considered and weighted for the final grade. So great point, Jorge, in terms of actually having a lot of summative formative assessments or formative assignments, I would say, instead of assessments, but actually the possibility to give them feedback. No, it could be machine graded, could be peer graded as well, which is something that we have at our disposal today as another, let's say, way to actually give them feedback, and also could be, let's say, also graded by you, or you can also give them feedback. So I think there are a nice, I mean, a different array, a different possibilities there that you can include when actually giving them feedback when you have to, let's say, grade them from both formative or summative kind of assignments. Okay, so now I'll go to my take on these two important challenges. So from a faculty perspective, I have to say that I mean, they need to feel confidence on the things they are doing. They need to be able to see that, of course, technology, and perhaps now that we're taking them out of their comfort zone, I mean, there are some risks associated. There are uncertainty as well around all these type of things. But they have to be, let's say, confident and comfortable enough to be able to enjoy this journey, which is, by the way, is very relevant for them as well, because those, I mean, the teacher, the professor has to enjoy, but also the students have to enjoy. I mean, everybody has to enjoy here that process. So this is one thing. The other thing is that, well, they need support. So this is one of the things they normally ask, or you, if you are faculty, you normally ask, which is actually getting some support from your institution. But if you don't have that support, you can also get some support from, perhaps not from the technical side, but perhaps more for the ID, instructional design part, let's say instructional design support from other type of courses. There are a number of MOOCs, there are a number of books, there are a number of courses, there are a number of tutorials. We have these type of sessions like we have today. So a number of things that can help you to find ideas, insights, practices, tools, best practices, lessons learned, from others, and that you can apply. Okay, so then, well, to be open to experimentation, and here also to be open to fail. So sometimes, and if this is the first time you're going to be teaching online, I mean, take this from that perspective. Experimentation is important. Some of the things you can, let's say, include in the course, then you're going to change, you are going to iterate that in the future. But the most important thing is actually to be open, not to see this as with a growth mindset. Curiosity, experimentation, and all this type of iteration is very important. Also, well, that you have to find your way, which is your model and the model in the university, in order to transition I mean, from, let's say, a more typical kind of teaching to this new wave of teaching, using a lot of tools, a lot of dynamics, and a lot of, let's say, well, and also, of course, using an online setting as well. And something I mentioned, which is avoid direct translation. So this is a real transformation. We have been talking about that. We need to make sure that this is something you need to transform. I mean, it's not just your course that is, let's say, going to be directed. It's not just like switching one word to another, or actually translating one word in Spanish into English. This is not the case. It's when you have to rethink, transform actually the whole process, the whole learning process, not forgetting all the lessons learned that you may have, not forgetting necessarily the way you teach. But yes, you need to rethink about many of the, let's say, sessions, about many of the modules, and eventually even the structure, even the length of the course, even the learning objectives, is things that you have to take into account. And something that you mentioned as well, time dedication. I would say that from the faculty perspective, if you want to develop this, with a lot of energy and putting a lot of your effort there, then it requires time. It requires time. Then from the sector's perspective, things that perhaps you haven't mentioned, but it's important, it is important that we change the perception of online learning. It's still not necessarily change, because it is, let's say, evolving, and is more positive today. But in the past, online learning also, many people thought, or let's say, that they were thinking that online learning was a cheap version of the face-to-face face-to-face teaching. Another thing is student engagement. Great comment from your side there. Student engagement is an important thing. We can see this in the retention rate, in the completion rate of the courses. Also, procrastination is an important challenge from a student perspective, because we have to engage them, and this is very important when you have, let's say, some modules of your course or some part of your course that will be self-paced, so that, let's say, you reinforce your students, you put a lot of energy, let's say, to them, so that they don't procrastinate, they complete the whole thing, and they continue learning, which is the most important thing, and actually they finish the course. Another idea is actually that technology we have today. EdTech is huge. I mean, this is evolving a lot, and we have a lot of challenges as well there, to be able to identify those tools, the technology that is appropriate for your course. And also new business models, new models are evolving. I would say that this is also an important thing. We haven't mentioned this, but I think this is something to take into account when analyzing the challenges. With that in mind, let's move on. Let's have then the second part of this discussion, that will be just now very focused on how to design your courses. So in that sense, I divided this in three again. So 3 blocks, and the first one is actually, I would like you to think and to highlight the 3 elements that you can say that define a great online course. So what are the three key things the three key elements that are part of a great online learning experience. So perhaps to write this down and to, well, help me and let's see if together we can analyze and we can, let's say, list these here so that we can share with the rest of the team. So anyone who wants to be first? Someone perhaps who hasn't participated yet, who wants to help us? First, which is the, so we have a hand there, and this is Miguel Ángel Lopez. Please, Miguel, you're from Mexico, right? No, you have to click on the mic button below. We cannot hear you. Click on the mic. Oh, let's see. No, we cannot hear you, Miguel. No, I think perhaps we can jump to the next one and see if you can, if we can fix the problem with you, Miguel, because we had another person. I saw a second person. So who wants to share with the rest of the team, with the rest of the of you? What are the, let's say, key things? Jorge, please go ahead.
Yes, I think one of the things that we can take in account in this part is about the content. Is the content amount? Maybe in the face-to-face you had different activities, but now in the online settings it's shorter than the face-to-face. This is one of them. And another thing that I can see in this is about the activities that we plan for the students. Maybe here in this setting we had the more interactive activities, student-centered, and just the two of them. And
okay, so you say that yeah, go ahead.
Yes, and the last one that I want to refer is about the assessment, how we can assess that. This is just those three I want to refer that.
Okay, so perfect. So assessments, the content, and the length of the course. And this is some of the things to mention when you say that this is an important thing. So who else? I mean, who else wants to share with us the let's say those elements that you think are key when saying that we are, or let's say we have designed a great learning, online learning journey, a great online course. So here, let's see, we have Rosa, please, go ahead.
Hi.
Hi, Rosa.
Yeah, for me the key would be interaction. I would define it like that. Interaction, to make sure is linked to all that has been said before, like engagement with the students, but all is linked with anyone. For me, this is the key. I would just define it as such.
Okay, great comment, interaction, and this helps me to actually say that we have different level of interaction when we define an online course. Perhaps you are just referring, Rosa, from interaction between professor or teacher and student. But I would say that we have to think of, let's say, not only that, but also among participants, among students. This is important. But there is a third level of interaction, which is between the student and the systems, between the students and the computer, between the students and, let's say, the activities that you are, let's say, designing for them. In that sense, Rosa, this is very relevant because to measure all these interactions, this will help us as well to get a lot of feedback from learning analytics, and a lot of feedback not only to assess the quality of the course, not only to assess the experience for them, but actually as well to make sure that in the future we can improve that particular course. So let's say, in other words, if you have assessments, if you have quizzes, if you have assignments, or you have simulations in your course, then in terms of analyzing this data and drawing some conclusions using this data will help you as well to see, let's say, if that stimulation, if that activity, if that exercise is well positioned, the position that you have put in this particular activity in your course is the right one, or perhaps you have to change this activity or towards the end of the course, or to change this type of thing. So this is, as said, very relevant. Interaction, but not only, let's say, measuring or actually not only thinking about the interaction human-human, but also, let's say, or well, human-human, human-teacher, sorry, student-teacher, student-students, but also let's say in front of the systems, simulations, the learning management system. I mean, there are a lot of possibilities there actually to work on interaction. Great comment, thank you. Angie, so who's Angie?
Yes, I am here.
Hey
Hello,
there,
everybody.
Angie. Hello, Angie.
Yes, as far as I'm concerned, of course, I believe that the key point is the environment that we create and the nice atmosphere, because, you know, students must feel great and in a great place in order to interact, to participate, and also the report. That would be the key point for me.
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the things is that they feel comfortable. They feel that actually the teacher, the faculty is working for them and with them. This is an important thing. I mean, the last thing we want to have in a class is, let's say, having students who feel they are fully isolated. They are alone. We don't want that. Even though, I mean, this is, let's say, online. I mean, we don't have personal touch in terms of I cannot touch you, I cannot see you, I mean, actually in 1 meter, but there are many possibilities that they can feel that you are there, and actually you are, let's say, something we mentioned with Rosa, I mean, that type of interaction as well. So they don't have to feel alone. They have to be, they have to feel comfortable. They have to feel that we are taking into account their needs, and we are accompanying them. We are, let's say, with them. We're holding their hands and walking with them through the whole process of the learning. I mean, of that particular course. Great point. And we have Daniela again. Go ahead, Daniela. Great. We have a comment from you. Please go ahead.
Okay. I think that we can include in our lessons too, the students could know, like, what are we expecting them to get? Maybe getting them into more levels of difficulties is important too when we create a good, I think, engaging lesson. And the other thing is that maybe we can be more like a guide for the students and make them work more as a team, or make them create different activities where they can connect with the other peers, and we can make them feel that they're not only dependent on us. I think that if we open this as a community, and we are like the connection between them, but we shouldn't be the only one that is, when we're talking that we are not this teacher center. I think the way to do that is to create the feel that the students connect between them, making them, maybe giving them tasks, and then we can check with them and make discussions. So for me, it's that, like, involving more people and giving them challenges more difficult too.
Absolutely. I mean, you have said two important things. I mean, one thing is in terms of actually having that. I say that this is a kind of a contract that we as teachers or professors need to have with the students, but they have to commit not only with us, but also with themselves. That this is a process for them, that they have to take the most out of this, and that I mean, the learnings are not only going to happen in the classroom, that the learnings are not going to be happening just with you, but actually what they are going to learn has to do a lot with the things they do around that. So it is just one part of the learning that occurs in the classroom, but actually many other things that they can take from the activities that you plan for them, from I mean, the readings, from the videos, from other type of let's say things that you can actually put available for them as part of the course. Great comment, Daniela. So and now I'm gonna share with you my take on this one. When, let's say, analyzing what is a good or what is a great online course, what is a great online learning experience, we have to think about, well, a number of things. No, the first thing is actually because it reaches the learning objectives. So when you, let's say, have an online course, you have, as well as in a face-to-face course, I mean, any learning experience has, let's say, learning outcomes, learning objectives. So this is important. So actually, to be effective in terms of time and effort, but actually to achieve that learning learning outcomes. So this is an important thing. Another important element to mention is that online course is interesting, is engaging. So we're gonna see in the next two discussions about videos and about video conferences, how we can do that as well. And towards the end of that session as well, we have to think about that. I mean, the audience, something we mentioned. We have to, let's say, analyze very well their needs, analyze very well their interests as well, so that we are, let's say, targeting these very well for them. And it has to include the possibility to apply concepts. It's not just online, and many people think that online is just for lecturing, just for theory, and it's not like that. It's the opposite. In fact, we can have a lot of things in an online setting, and in terms of be able to design your course with, let's say, for your students to apply things, and on the Bloom's taxonomy, actually to go up, no, actually to develop their criteria, actually to be able for them to make decisions, to make things with their hands, to develop your course from a let's say project-based point of view, from a team-based point of view, etc. Okay. So these are some of the key elements when designing an online course. You mentioned some. I have just given you mine. But then we have to move, and I would like you now to start thinking about that video conference, okay, that session, that webinar that you have to give to your students. So what are the key elements to consider when actually designing and preparing that, and also executing, or let's say delivering this video conference to your students? So what are the key things to take into account? So any ideas? And please turn on the video. I have some people here without a video. It's great to see faces as well, to get to have the possibility to give some kind of contact as well with you. So please turn on your camera if possible, and well, share with me and share with your peers today. What are the things to take into account when designing that video conference? Who can help me? Raise your hands. Perfect. So we have Angie, please.
Yes, exactly. When designing our lesson plans, definitely we have to take into consideration students' needs, students' necessities, topics, the most relevant topics, I mean, the ones that they really love, that they are connected with, and catchy ideas, definitely.
Excellent. So catchy ideas to understand their needs. Actually, something we mentioned that is actually thinking that, I mean, let's say, knowing very well who will be your audience, who will be your learner persona. This is one of the first things to take into account. So who else? Who wants to jump in and share with us other elements that are key when preparing your video conference? Come on, guys. I'm sure that you have a lot of things to say. Okay, so we have Berta, please.
Having a meaningful purpose. We're going to make them spend time in front of a blue screen. We're going to spend time in front of a blue screen. Yes, we are teaching. But if we are teaching something that they can actually do by themselves on their own time, what's the purpose of being face-to-face with me? I mean, I try to give them the things that they can do by themselves independently to do on the off time, so that when they meet with me, so that when we have the face-to-face class, it is absolutely meaningful, it is communicative, it is participative, it is interactive, it is me and them. No, the reading through me or the whatever through me. It's me and them, it's human contact rather than book contact.
Excellent.
Book contact.
Great comments, Berta. It's actually to using that particular time, something you mentioned, meaningfully. I mean, actually to have the possibility to interact, to have the possibility as well to have this contact with them, to answer their questions, to address any issue that they may have, and actually to be able to talk to them and to see if we're covering everything we need. By the way, one important thing is we can lecture in video conferences, but just for a few minutes. And this is something we will see. And I think it's very related to your point, Bertha. Is actually when you are in video conferences, I mean, try to avoid just lecturing and actually use a lot of things. I mean, use many other things, even though you can spend a couple of minutes for lecturing. Okay, so we have also Omar. Please, Omar.
Okay, I guess that there are three important things. First one, ask them at the beginning of the session, at the beginning of the class, how do they feel? How they are living this kind of, I don't know, the COVID in their houses, no? The second one, open with a key question in order to get an outcome at the end of the session, at the end of the class, that to complete all the topics that we want to cover on each class, and also to get an experiential learning of each session.
Excellent points. So actually, to be able to have that learning objectives, so they are clear on the things they have to learn, having this interaction, this experiential learning as well. So actually, to do things with the things they have in class. So Christina, anything to add? Where are you? Here you are. Please.
Yes, I would say to take into account how people learn. To also consider that everybody learns differently. So not only doing videos, you can also use audio, or you can also include someone by texting or giving them different kind of options to get involved with the content. And of course, taking that into account to designing this kind of things, the length of the class, everything that you can do. I mean, if you wouldn't take that class, don't do it.
No, absolutely. Very relevant. I mean, very, very relevant. We will see this in a couple of minutes as well. So great. And I would like to have Angie as well. Thank you, Christina. Angie, do you have a comment?
Yes, something that is, again, interesting to take into consideration is personalizing. I mean, we have to personalize all the activities that we do. And also sometimes I ask them some questions about their favorites. And I sometimes stop the class, stop the topic, and I say, okay, what's your favorite book? Please bring me your book. And they show me the book, show me to the camera. They explain, they talk a little bit about it, and they enjoy. What they really enjoy is what makes it meaningful. And also I put some music that they like. I try to use icebreakers all the time.
Very good.
And I also take into consideration multiple intelligences. That's really important. And learning styles as well.
I can see,
Yes,
I can see, Angie, that let's say you are analyzing your students, you're actually interacting a lot with them, asking them questions, not only let's say for the topic of your course, but eventually this book that you said, what are you reading, and also something that Omar mentioned, which is, well, how are you feeling? And actually to humanize the channel, no? I mean, even though we cannot touch the other one, even though we cannot, let's say, be in the same physical space, we are in the same virtual space. So that's important that we cross that borderline, that we cross that line, and we, let's say, in other words, we're trying to, you know, try to get that sense of touch, no? Even though it is absolutely virtual. Great comment, thank you. And we have Daniela, please. Any comment?
Yes, I think all the ideas are great always, and I'm just going to add something that is important too, that remember as we feel when we take webinars too, like how do we participate in those? And I think that we can use technology too, like polls. I've been taking some of that where you are invited to use the technology, and there are many apps where you can even, the teacher asks you and to write your, I think in those chat boxes too, or you can participate in different interactive ways that now we can use other like websites. So I think maybe including the feeling that the students are, I don't know, given their ideas. S2.
No, absolutely. I mean, to have a mix of resources, to actually have different apps. In fact, there are many things that, by the way, are freemium, so you can use them for free. You can actually include them in class. Remember when I said that the faculty, I mean, we are taking them out of their comfort zone. We're asking them to experiment. I think it has to do with your point as well, Daniela. So be able to actually do different things in the class, actually to use different type of tools, not only, let's say, have a virtual, only a virtual lecture. Great points, Daniela, thank you. We have Laura or Laura. Perhaps you can share your point of view. Laura Pantaleon.
Hi. For me, it's very important the design to the slide or presentation, the color and size to letter. Maybe the photo should or explain very visual thing is very important for me. The students, they maybe understand or don't see in this computer. So it's very important to design visual thing for this.
It's a good point. In fact, your supports, I mean, the visual supports are important. And I would say not only in the video conference, but also in the videos. In the videos that we sometimes have to sometimes we have to record as well. So very last comment, because I would like to move, and we have great ideas. Marisa Fariña, please, you have some comments to share with us in terms of what are the 3 elements or 1 element that is key when delivering or designing your video conference. Marisa, can you turn on your mic? Okay, so perhaps we have some technical problem with Marisa. Let's what are the 3 elements or 1 element that is key when delivering or designing your video conference?
I think that
yes, Marisa.
Do you listen to me?
Yes, now we're listening to you. Yes, we can hear you.
Okay.
Try to speak up, Marisa.
Yes. Sorry.
Do you want to say something, Marisa? Okay, so let's continue. Then I'm gonna give you my points and my ideas. Let's say, just a few when you are, let's say, playing or planning your video conference. So perhaps it's something we said before. Again, to stick to your learning objectives and actually to have a few learning objectives for that particular video conference. If you think my personal advice is to actually just instead of having 10 learning objectives for that video conference, is to stick to 3, 4, 2. But it's great, or let's say it's better that your students are actually able to manage that concepts and to do things with that 3, 4 concepts instead of actually having a weak understanding of let's say 7 or 10 things. So it's better to stick to less but having a higher level of understanding. Then the other thing is actually you have to be very structured. When you have a video conference, you have to structure very well what you're saying. You have to structure very well the activities, and you have to have also, even in some cases, plan B for these apps or these websites or this exercise that also Daniela mentioned, that perhaps we're gonna have some experiments, or we're gonna have perhaps some risks associated to that particular activities, right? So be structured. Make sure that you have your teaching plan very well stated, very well planned, and then, just be able to, perform in front of your students, right? So this is important, and actually to be able to experiment with that as well. Then the other thing is actually to be able to have different mix of resources. This is not just lecturing. Something I think has been very clear from this session. It hasn't to do with just you talking, but actually to do many things with your students. It's interacting with them, but actually having exercises, having projects, having role plays, having discussions, having make them to actually do exercises, and you actually jump in to help them. Use the technology today allows us also to have breakdown groups, and to well, to for them to work in small teams, and then you can be jumping, or you between one group and another, and then you can group them all together in your session, and actually deliver a conclusion or a discussion with all of them. So mix of resources is important, because if you're going to be talking for 90 minutes, if you are going to be talking for 2 hours, it's going to be very, very, very difficult, not only for you, but also for them to actually pay attention all the time. So there is one rule: change activities, change dynamics quickly, let's say every 10, 12 minutes, so that they are going to be focusing on the things that you want them to do. And of course, something we mentioned, which is interact with your students. And my last point here is actually to think about what are the 3 elements that you think are very relevant when actually recording your videos that you are going to use for your online sessions. So perhaps we can have 1 or 2, if you have some ideas. Have you recorded video for your classes? This is the first thing to do. Yes, thumbs up. Have you done that? Okay, Christina, perhaps now that you have said yes, why don't you share with us your insights about this? Have you found it difficult? Have you found it easy? And what are, let's say, the best, well, let's say, a couple of pieces of advice that you can share with us when recording your videos for your students, I mean. Christina.
Well, I haven't recorded so much because I have one-on-one sessions better, but the ones I have recorded, I say that I try to make them interactive, fun, and also give them relevant material. But it has meant, like, of course, an extra effort, and it takes time. Yes. And you have to try different things.
Yes,
absolutely. To make it work.
Absolutely, absolutely. So different things. I mean, very, very, very relevant. And well, I think the more videos you will record, the more experience you will take. Then, of course, I mean, important to plan this. I'll share my my ideas on that as well. But great points there with Christina. Anyone else have recorded videos or has recorded videos for your sessions, for your class? No one? Yes. So we have Omar, please. Can you share with us your experience?
Sure. Well, I also give some one-on-one sessions, and at the beginning it's strange, right? Yes. Because we don't like to hear our voices or see our image, and maybe we have some tics, or we repeat a lot of the same words. I don't know. But
Omar,
I think that
if you allow me to jump in, I think this is a punishment. I mean, when you have to see your videos, it's a kind of, you're punishing yourself. Please keep on. Sorry.
Also, I think that it's a very good tool, because, for example, if a student has a problem with the internet connection, or I don't know, any kind of problem, they are able to see the session and the class, and also as a teacher you have evidence, so you have a lot of proof that you are giving your classes, right?
Great points. And in fact, my idea here is for you to actually record some videos that you can share with your class actually before or after a video conference. Or let's say, or a module could be just, or just, let's say, a session, particular session could be just, let's say, some of these videos and other activities. So in other words, you can use videos for them to get ready for the things they're going to do in class. You can record videos as well to, for as a guidance or to give them some instructions for a particular workshop, for a project that they have to do, for the project they have to carry it out, for a submission they have to deliver. So videos, you can use videos for many things, and actually you can mix videos among other things. It's not just, let's say, a video that is for a very specific session, or for a video conference, or a very long video because you just recorded the session. So it is actually to record videos specifically for that particular a number of videos for that particular module. We have Laura as well. Please share with us your points.
Well, I designed the storyboard before recording the video, and maybe it's the best design and storyboard.
Okay.
So it's better for me design the video.
Okay, so actually what you're saying is that you get ready before actually jumping to in front of the camera. So you have your storyboard and you follow that storyboard when recording yourself. Great point, because
yes.
Yes, absolutely. When recording videos, and I have to say one important thing, videos are prime time. Why? Because your students are going to be actually focusing their attention on that particular video. And by the way, if they are going to be, let's say, watching that particular video, it is important that you work very well on the script and that storyboard that Laura mentioned. So you have to, you should be able, if you don't want to write every word, at least to structure very well that video in terms of the bullet points and the learning objectives that you want to cover. So it's actually matching that particular learning objectives, learning outcomes for that video, and then making sure that you're covering these with you can A, have a storyboard, B, have bullet points, C, have actually a proper script when designing the videos, or let's say recording the videos. Then actually something we mentioned for the video conferences, but that for me is very relevant, is actually to think about all the visuals that you can use for support your ideas and reinforce the key messages in that videos. There are a number of software that you can use. For instance, we have a studio here at IE, and we record professors in front of professional cameras with green screen behind, so all these type of things. But also I use, and for my classes, for instance, I use a software. I don't go to the studio. I record that videos only for my classes using a software that we call Loom, L-O-O-M, and it's freemium as well. So you can have, you can record the videos, you can have your slides, you can have animations, you can have comments, you can have things, and then your face will appear there in the video, and it's very easy to work with. So, but with this, one is just one example, but there are many possibilities. So actually think about first learning objectives, script, or a storyboard, and then, well, to try to design the visuals and the elements that will help you to reinforce that ideas. There is a debate in terms of the duration of the videos. And, well, you can read different type of literature, research that says that perhaps 6 minutes is the best length of the video, or perhaps 10 minutes is the best length of the video, the best duration. And my take on this is that it depends. It depends on you. It depends on that learning objectives, and the shorter in that sense, the better, because we want them to be to the point. But if you have to record a video of 12 minutes, 15 minutes, it's fine. You can do that. You can do that. But the most important thing is actually that these 10, 12, 8, 6, or 3 minutes are something meaningful, are something interesting for them, and you are very well prepared so that your message, the message that you want to transmit, that you want to convey to your students, is the right one, using the time that you need to do that. Sometimes it is important to think about, well, how you're going to start the video, to have perhaps some questions in the middle of the video, or let's say in different stages of the video, to close up the video with conclusions, actually to wrap up the video. So these are some tips, but very importantly, in terms of duration, feel free to have a video of 3 minutes sometimes, 6 minutes another time, and eventually 9, 10, 12 minutes as well. The most important thing is that it's relevant. Is relevant the content that you are sharing with them. So with this, I'm going to jump into the very last part of this session, where I'm going to give you some other ideas in terms of how to design, let's say, learning courses from a learning design perspective. I mean, actually, to taking into account, let's say, the pedagogy, okay? So in that sense, I would say that start by setting the learning objectives, something we mentioned. It is important not only for the course, because many teachers think, okay, I'm going to define the learning objectives for the course, but actually for each one of the sessions, or let's say for each one of the modules, for each one of the sessions, and for each one of the activities that you will have in that particular model. Be very structured. It is important that you manage your time very well. It is important that you also, let's say, you are very structured in terms of how you plan the activities, how you use the different things in your course, so that students think that this is something relevant for them, interesting as well. Another interesting thing to mention is something we said in terms of, okay, we need them to apply concepts. We need them not. Online is not only for theory, so important to include exercises, role plays, projects, and different type of things. So not only, let's say, from a practical point of view, but also from a mix of learning resources. So some of them could be videos. You can actually have in-video questions as well in that particular videos. And very important to use this data. Actually, when most of the learning management systems, they have by default great dashboards, great places where you can go and you can track your students. You can see who is let's say lagging behind, or who needs some support. So actually they will say this is one of the advantages of this in terms of using all this data, using all this technology, because they will see that this is also personalized for them. Then because I want to cover not only the pedagogy, or not only the learning, but also the engagement part, the engaging, right? So in that sense, again, something very relevant we have said, diversity of resources, not only from a pedagogical point of view, but also from a learning, but also from an engaging point of view, or from, let's say, to improve engagement in class. Then make sure that your students understand that they are responsible as well, and that not only what is going to be, let's say, not only they have to learn because of you, or you are not going to be only, let's say, the person who will be giving them knowledge. So the idea is that they take an active role as well. More and more, we're living in a situation, in a society, that we have to be aware of this, because now we are, let's say, living in a society where lifelong learning is relevant. So no matter what you are studying now, if you are in high school, if you are in the university, it is important that after that, perhaps you have to go to university again, because you have to take a master program, or eventually in the future you have to take a number of courses. So this is very important for them to understand that an important part of the learning has to do with them, with their commitment, and with their, let's say, taking an active role as well. And this is related to the next element there, which is actually highlighting the advantages of online learning. If you start, and now, which is because everybody now is online, or many universities are, let's say, delivering online courses. If you start your course by saying, oh my God, we're now in a very tough situation, oh, well, we have to go online because it's, I mean, we don't have other possibility. So that sense is going to be negative for them. So actually is to say, well, highlight the possibilities. So flexibility, actually all the information that I said in terms of data analytics, to personalize your course, to have a mix of activities, to be able for them to actually have interaction among them out of the classroom. So of course, we would like to have this, let's say, personal touch, but at this point it's not possible. So at the end, what we want them to do is actually to see the advantages of online learning, but not necessarily the disadvantages of this. And it is important that you take an active role there, because they are going to follow the things, what I mean, your roles and your patterns in that sense. An important thing, I think someone mentioned as well, is creativity. It is important that when you design your course, from you put elements of creativity, elements of humor, elements of, I mean, different type of things in terms of actually not having a boring or a very flat experience, but actually having different elements of creativity. I teach, for instance, one of the courses that I teach is how to manage creative projects, and I am fully convinced that everybody is creative. So you can make up ideas that you can implement in session 1, session 2, session 3, or session number 4. But the thing is, you have to implement elements of creativity in your course. All right. Then the other thing is analytics, something we mentioned in terms of this will also help us to see who is lagging behind, not only from a learning perspective, but also from a let's say, program management or engagement perspective, because in the end, they are going to, I mean, you can then help them, and actually you can increase the engagement. If you have, let's say, in the next video conference, you can have actually a comment with them, or actually you can ask some questions to them, because you have seen that someone is not necessarily very engaged in a particular moment. That analytics, use that dashboards in order to get insights that can help you for preparing the session. And then my last comment, and has to do with the fact of enhancing your course. I mean, this, when you jump into online, this will be your first attempt. I'm pretty sure that you will identify a number of things that you can improve in your next iteration. So please, go ahead, keep up questioning yourself, trying to enhance your things, try to enhance all the elements that you think that can be improved, and then of course the next time it will be much better for you. So with that, I want to pass and now start the Q&A. I'm going to have as well, because we have some people in the YouTube channel as well, to make sure that we cover all the questions we can have. But please, if you have some questions, please raise your hands. I see Marisol, you have a question. Perhaps, well, excellent. Jump in, tell us what is your question, and let's see if we can answer that question. Thank you, Marisol.
Yes, it was, thank you very much. It was, for me, really interesting to listen on this overview. And I think it comes to my mind that there's, with digital experiences, we have like kind of a distance in one dimensions, but in others we can be closer or create more relationships with the students or with the audience. And so it creates a weird mix. And you were saying, like, try to prepare and record the videos, but also take advantage of the technical elements that we have. And it happened to me in several occasions that the group dynamics, using the tools, the digital tools or collaborative elements, or maybe the group discussions, creates something really different that we maybe would be able to experience in a live room. It's not the same experience. No? So it's like, be really prepared, but also be flexible enough to incorporate what comes from the group, because also younger generations are more used to all these technologies and they create new experiences as well. And so that's one side. And the other is, as you said, the importance of creating mixed experiences that maybe not only have to happen at the same time, but you have like a possibility to extend the experience, the learning experience, no? With the videos, with what you have in the mentorships or real-time collaborations, and maybe some materials that they can have afterwards. Of course, the risk is that some people just forget and don't do the material. So how to try to keep the interest through all these learning experience. So the first part would be a reflection, and the last one is the question.
Yes, I mean, I love the reflection part, because I think this is a nice way to wrap up. But the second question is, I didn't get the question per se. I get the comment, but what is exactly the question for the second one?
The question is how to embrace the new challenges of keep the interest of the audience, of the students, when the interest right now is even maybe more fleeting, no? The people get distracted with so many elements that are around. So if we create like videos and then materials, how we keep the people engaged through the use of all them.
Excellent question. And I think one of the most important thing is to keep it relevant. So don't create just videos to create videos. I mean, perhaps you can have only one video, one activity, and then a video conference. This is your session, instead of just creating things to create things. This is one important thing. So actually, keep it relevant for them. The other thing is actually to measure the time you think they're going to invest. For instance, Marisol, with the videos, very relevant to say that when you have a video of, let's say, 10 minutes, the duration of the video, this is not necessarily the time they are going to have or they're going to spend actually watching that video. They're going to stop, they're going to take notes, they're going to perhaps pause the video, they're going to go back, and they're going to spend perhaps twice or even 3 times the time that you have, the time of the video per se. So be aware of the, let's say, time that they have to invest in that particular activity, in that particular video, and make sure that they don't feel overwhelmed with all the things they have to do, not only for your course, Marisol, but also for other courses. So to be, let's say, relevant, to keep this content interesting for them, so understanding very well the audience, understanding very well their needs, understanding very well their time, and be, let's say, you have to be very honest with them in terms of what you're expecting for the time that they have to invest in that video. Did I answer the question, Marisol? Excellent. Well, thank you. So let me see if we have some questions here in the YouTube channel. We have some comments, so thank you as well for this. And well, let me see if we have some questions here. It seems we don't have much. So okay, we have a question in Spanish. ¿Cómo hacer esta práctica en el campo de la educación física? Oh, okay, so it's great, and it's a challenging one. Well, if you let's say focus on physical education, how to do these type of things for physical education, for sports, and in this case, perhaps is actually to you can record videos for them to see how they have to practice this. You can also give them exercises to do. You can put them in peers. So I mean, there are many ways that you can actually that you can actually design. So for that particular course, as I said. I'm pretty sure that if you use your creativity, you can, let's say, open your mind, try to benchmark a bit and see what others are doing, talking to colleagues, and then perhaps from one idea you can build another idea. You can connect dots between different ideas, and for sure you will find a solution. But videos again could be a nice possibility, but also perhaps to put them to work together in groups of, let's say, some 2, 3, 4, and then actually to help them. We have some comments, Andrea, and we have to end up in a, perhaps we have only 2 more questions. Andrea, perhaps you can turn on your mic.
Yes, hello.
Hello, Andrea.
So, how are you? Greetings from Honduras. And my question is actually for my fellow colleagues in Latin America. I was wondering, in Latin America, there's a lot of connectivity problem, meaning internet. And a lot of teachers, what they're doing is using WhatsApp to send material to their students. So my question is for all my Latin friends that I see there's some from Mexico, Colombia, Peru. Have you encountered this problem where you've had to send material to via WhatsApp, and how different? I mean, the general bulk of the lesson building will be somewhat the same, but you have to adapt it to sending something to WhatsApp. And I wanted to see what problems they've encountered using this technology, and keeping the kids engaged. As you could probably imagine, I work with little kids, and what success have you had, if any? So anyone who could, from Latin America, that can help me out, that'd be fantastic.
Okay, so I don't know if someone else can have these WhatsApp groups or channels in Latin America. My advice, Andrea, is of course, I mean, WhatsApp is a channel. If that works for you, stick to it. But you can share not only, let's say, readings and things like that, or actually even perhaps to try to have a forum on that WhatsApp channel. Perhaps you can also record your videos and you can share the videos through WhatsApp. I mean, so actually not necessarily having just video conference, but other type of things. When you have problems of connectivity, you have to rely on perhaps a more self-paced kind of course instead of let's say more live, because they don't have the possibility to connect with you in a particular moment. So perhaps it's to try to go for these type of things, so more self-paced and more flexible in that sense. All right. So, well, thank you for your comment, and I hope you can, let's say, engage your students through WhatsApp. Okay, but use, I mean, the more resources, the better in that sense. And the last comment, because we have to finish the session, we are already out of time. Angie is the last one. Do you want to share something, Angie?
Yeah, it was connected to what Andrea was talking about.
Excellent.
She mentioned about the connectivity. Yeah, it's true. Here in South America, we have kind of, well, some students they are there in the class, and all of a sudden they disappear. So we have that problem, and what I try to do with them is let them feel relaxed, calm down, and tell them, okay, relax, don't worry, I will be here, I will wait for you, you will come in any time you can, and we continue. We keep on with the class and try always to create a nice atmosphere, because that is the key point. Yes, let them feel relaxed, let them feel enthusiastic, in that way. I try to motivate my students all the time, and that is what we have to do here in these kinds of situations. Yeah, Andrea, I have those kinds of problems with my students, but yeah, I try to fight with that.
Excellent.
Yes, I try to help all the time.
Yes, excellent comment, Angie. I think this is very relevant, very important, so that, I mean, they feel comfortable with you. Perhaps it's just to tell them something you mentioned, that you are there for them. No, I mean, you can help them, and then you can, let's say, guide them, and you can give them well, support if they need it, and of course trying to adapt to that constraints you may have. I have to say one very last comment to finish and to end today. A part of let's say, of course, thanking. I mean, thank you very much for being here. Thank you very much for your passion and education. Today we are living in a very important time and age for education, and it's great for us to be actually living today in this moment, because we're shaping the education of the future. Each one of you are let's say, shaping education of the future in your country, in your city, with your students. So keep on doing that. Keep on thinking how to enhance your course and your skills, and I hope you the best. And thank you. Gracias desde Madrid. Bye.